Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is the Narcissistic Resistance, and this resistance video is sponsored by contribution from Anonymous, and here's her story. Buckle in, this is a long one. Hello, Ollie. I've been watching your channel for quite some time now. I wanted to write in, but I couldn't fully wrap my head around everything in order to do so. But through growth and enlightenment, I'm now in a place where I can share my story, so here goes. I have been surrounded by narcissists my entire life, starting with my mother, covert narcissist, and now my ex-husband and my last boyfriend, whom I dated for 6 years. There are plenty of others who were friends, but for the sake of keeping this email from turning into a novel, I will just focus on my mother. If you would like to hear more about the others, just a warning, it only gets worse, I would be happy to share. Maybe sharing through you would be the way to go, because as I will explain later, I have tried to be open and spread awareness, but I've been silenced. My parents split up when I was 3, and my mother gained full custody of me. Because my parents were in the military, after the divorce, my father was sent to California, and my mother and I were sent to Florida. You can imagine how difficult it was to have any kind of relationship with my father. The discard, hoovering, love bombing, and devaluing would start with my mother when I was very young. I remember the first time it happened. I was probably around 6 or 7 years old. My mother had to go to Guam for her job and decided to send me to my father's house in California. My father had remarried, so I was staying with him and my new stepmother. I remember my mom showing up on the doorstep unannounced with a bright red convertible. I remember the horror on her face when she saw that my stepmother had cut my hair extremely short. She became so furious that I guess she decided she was going to take me back to Florida with her right then. So we packed my things and left. I remember feeling proud of her because she seemed to care a lot about the fact that I was also upset about this ridiculous haircut. Mind you, I was only 6 or 7 at the time. She was my rescuer. Keep this in mind for the rest of the story. This type of behavior would continue throughout my childhood and well into adulthood. Let me explain. Shortly after my mother remarried as well, my stepfather received orders to California, so we moved. This was great news considering my father also lived in California. However, this just gave my mother more leverage and easy access to proceed with the discard, hoovering, and love bombing and devaluing. Any excuse she had to send me away when she was fed up. Within days, if not hours, I would be uprooted from her life and sent to my father's house as a type of punishment. And then would she show up at your father's and pull you out of there? She would always tell me as she was transporting me, "You know I love you, right? I'm only doing this because I love and want what's best for you." Sounds like this is what it sounds like to me. That sounds like guilt. That sounds like she was making up an excuse to get you out of the house to get some dick and attention. That's actually what, and I'm just pulling that out right from there. I can guarantee you that's if it wasn't dick and it was something. She wanted to go out and party. She wanted to do something, but she was making up reasons to send you away. That statement, "You know I love you," right? That's guilt. That's guilt. That's her trying to cover her ass. While she may have been right as far as it being what was best for me, in hindsight, that wasn't why she was doing it. She didn't actually think it was what was best for me. Maybe right for her in terms of getting the emotional supply from me that she needed. I learned to hate my father's house and what it stood for in my life. Yeah, it stood for your mother's rejection. That's what it stood for. My father and stepmother would go on to have 4 other children, and they never had a lot of money. They lived in a small house, 7 people, 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. There was absolutely no privacy, which was a huge change from my mother's house where I had my own room. My mother used this to her advantage. She knew that uprooting me from my own space into a space that I shared with my 2 younger sisters would be the perfect punishment. However, when I was with my father, I would thrive. My GPA would raise to 3.8 or higher. I lost weight and my skin would clear up. I wasn't mentally or emotionally happy, but part of me wanted to be better because I knew that if I did all that, my mom would want me back and I would be able to go home, have my own space, and my punishment would be over. My father later told me that him and my stepmother had contemplated telling my mother no the next time she wanted to send me back because they could see how it was creating a codependency issue. But because they knew my mother was toxic, they had hoped that in time I would be there with them. They could help me. But every time things started to get better for me, my mother would rush to come get me and take me back home. Of course she would. That's what I said. Not only does she kick you out and lets you get comfortable, and then she just pulls you back, fucks you up again. It's not a big surprise that you come from a military family on both sides. This is what the military does. They're trying to break you like a drill instructor. Break you down, build you up, and then you got built up the wrong way. She's got to come in and break you down again. It's a pleasure. And something she probably picked up, not that the narcissism is new to her, that's probably why she drew her to the military. But that power that the drill instructor I guarantee you she clued in on a lot of that. That whole breaking you down to build you back up. See, now in the military, they break you down and they build you back up and they leave you up. The narcissist just keeps breaking you fucking down until you stop trying to climb up. That's the goal. It's like reverse basic training, reverse boot camp, meant to condition you for abuse. This caused a strain on my father's family and all of my siblings. One day I would be there, the next day gone. Then one day I would show back up, then I would be gone. This went on for years. To this day, some of my siblings and I have strained relationships. I became an intruder in their lives. When I showed up, it was never because it was happy. It was always because I was in trouble, and I was always miserable. My mother would come get me for the first few months. Everything would be happy and easy going, but it wouldn't be long until the devaluing stage would start all over again. She would say things like, "You haven't changed. I should have left you with your father. Why did I even bring you back?" Again, it's like you're starting boot camp. You start right back again, whether it's you're on trial. What this is breaking you down, letting you build you back up a little just to break you back down again. It's a military tactic, but the military does it to build you up and leave you up. It's reverse boot camp. Because of this back and forth between their houses, I attended 4 different high schools in the 4 years of my high school career. My mother would always triangulate me with the other female friends I had in my life. Whenever they were around, she would be the most awesome mom a kid could ask for. When they were away, she would go on and on about how much she loved them and thought they were just good girls. We would argue. When we would argue, she would say things like, "Do you think so-and-so treats her mother this way?" She would also always say, "I know you always tell everyone how horrible you think I am. You never have anything nice to say about me. When my little brother was born, I became the built-in babysitter. She would forever tell me, probably to this day, that I started getting really out of control when my little brother was born, almost to insinuate that I was jealous of him." Right. She's projecting her jealousy of you onto your brother. So now, because she's jealous of you, she's trying to project onto you that you're jealous of your brother. When it's all her. It's all her. which isn't true. After my brother was born, we were all each other had. And aside from that, I wasn't the type of kid that ever did drugs, drank alcohol, or snuck out of the house. I never did anything like that. To this day, I'm still not clear on what her definition of out of control is. It's whatever, out of control is whatever they can define, so they have carte blanche to break you back down again, to punish you. It's whatever they say it is. Out of control is whatever the narcissist says it is, because that gives them license to then start boot camp and break you back down again. My mother would always have to work late, and she went on lots of dates, and would go away on weekend trips, leaving my brother with me always. One time she told me that I was the reason that no one stuck around and that everyone leaves her. When I would go spend the night at friend's house, well, what happened to her husband? I thought she got remarried. So he left too? When I would go spend the night at a friend's house, if I was there past noon the next day, she would call and scream at me over the phone that I had things to do and I had better come back home that minute. She never gave me rides anywhere. I always had to figure out a way to get to and from, unless it was to my dad's house, of course. But the one thing she did that really scared me, you probably won't even believe. Shortly before her and my father had gotten a divorce, she had met this guy online. They had been talking for a couple months when all of a sudden I came home from school one day and she had a bag packed for me and was waiting at the door. She told me that we were going to run away to Vegas for a couple days because her and my stepfather had been fighting. She did this once before, but nothing significant happened. So we get in the car and we drive to Vegas, but she didn't stop. I watched as the strip got further and further behind us, and so I asked her, where are we going? That's when she reveals to me that we aren't actually going to Vegas. We're actually going to Idaho to meet this guy that she had been chatting to online. Jesus. Told you it was all about her. So we get up there and check into the hotel. It was pretty late, so we immediately got ready for bed and lay down. My mother and this guy wait until they think I'm asleep and proceed to have sex for hours while I'm sleeping in the next bed over. That scarred you. Not scared or scarred you. Told you it was about dick and attention. That's what the first thing was about. You know I'm a good mother. You know I love you. I told you it was about dick. I knew it. It was about dick and attention. That's exactly what that was. She was making an excuse to get you out of the house so she could go on some fuck spree. That's what she was up to. I knew it. And then when you got old enough, she's trying to hoover you into it. Some guy she met online in Idaho. What a fucking... I confronted her in the McDonald's bathroom the next morning, where she began weeping, exclaiming that she was sorry. A McDonald's bathroom in Idaho. Thanks, Mom. We get back home, and a few months later, my stepfather moves out, and they separate. And this guy from Idaho shows up on our doorstep out of nowhere, claiming he had nowhere to go, and my mother allows him to move into the house with myself and my little brother. In addition to all this craziness, I was sexually abused twice as a child, molested at the age of 12, and raped at the age of 13. When I was molested at age 12 and told my mother about it, she did get the police involved, and we ended up getting a restraining order on the whole family because they in turn started harassing us. However, when I was raped, it was by the son of a guy my mother worked with. Again, another guy your mother's bringing around. Instead of calling the police after I told her what happened, she called the mother of this guy, over to the house and demanded I tell her every single detail. It felt like an interrogation. I guess they both decided that I was a liar and nothing ever came of it, at least not from them. The boy was going into his senior year, and I was just starting my freshman year. He was pretty popular and played on the football team. So the first week of my freshman year was spent with multiple people coming up to me and harassing me about what happened. I think that was really where my mental health issues ignited. I ended up missing 99 days of school that year because I couldn't bring myself to get out of bed in the morning. It wasn't until the end of the school year that anyone even noticed or cared enough to let my parents know that I had missed so much school. At which time my mother decided that she was going to escort me from class to class and sit in every class for the entire day. Looking back, I think she enjoyed this. She would walk behind me, and any time that I would turn around to talk to her, she would have both hands and shove me forward, telling me to keep walking. This was done in front of the whole school for the entire day, and the school allowed this. And the school allowed this shit. There's a ton more I could talk about regarding my mother, but our relations, and again, following you around like a drill instructor, she never stops breaking you. They never stop breaking you down. There's a ton more I could talk about regarding my mother, but our relationship continues to be strained to this day. Gee, you think? I went no contact for years, but about 6 months ago, she called my father crying, saying that she wanted to talk to me. I will tell you that at one point, I had started a YouTube channel so that I could talk about all of this and the rest of the narcissistic abuse I have been through to maybe spread awareness. And somehow she found them, even though I had only made maybe 26 subscribers. I still can't figure out how she found it. Because she's in your life. She's up your ass. She's probably got keystrokers. If she's going to follow you around school, okay, she could get in so deep into your life. Later on, when I spoke to her, she told me that those videos hurt her, and that was the reason she had a gun pointed at her head. Pull the trigger next time. And that it was only by the grace of God that she didn't pull the trigger. Right. The grace of God. By the grace of her. Because I guarantee you she don't believe in God. Remember, the narcissists don't believe in God. They think they're God. But so far, all I've gotten out of her is sorry for always trying to make things better. When I was a kid, she says you would always do something. You would always do something creative, and I would come along and try to make it better. But I should have just let you do it, and that be the end of it, which makes it seem like more of a backhanded apology, but whatever. Yeah, it is a backhanded apology. It's not an apology. It's I'm sorry for trying to make you better. It's not an apology. It's an insult. The thing is, everyone outside of the home thinks she's the greatest. She helps everyone. When they need money, she's right there to help them out. She would give someone the shirt off her back if they needed it. But the moment someone does something that pisses her off, that's the end of it. I can't tell you how many times growing up I heard the phrase, "You're so ungrateful." That one is her favorite, I think. But those people that don't really know my mother just can't believe how much trouble I give her and how I could be just so awful to such a nice woman. The people that I have reached out to who thought I could understand, who I thought could understand from my point of view, would always surprise me when their response was, "Oh, your mother loves you so much. She just goes on and on about you. She just wants what's best for you. I can't And all I can ever think is, if you only knew. And there's no convincing these people. Talk about being silenced, not only in my childhood, but my adulthood too. And not only by my mother, but by her little flying monkeys too. I keep my distance and only text her every once in a while. When she texts me, I purposely wait a day, 2 days, maybe a week to respond. I I keep I keep her at just enough length away to where she is still in the love bombing phase, but can't get close enough to devalue me in any way because she knows that I can and will go no contact. I don't let her in on many details of my life. I've told her that I'm seeing someone, but I don't send pictures of him or us together. I wait until later I wait until later to wish her a happy birthday because that was always an issue. If I didn't call or text on a holiday, it was game over for me. Yeah, well, you didn't you didn't approach Sarge with the right respect, you know? And when I do text her, I go through a mental process in my head to make sure that I'm doing it because I want to, not because I feel like it's what's expected of me or that I fear of any consequences from not doing it. I kind of feel like she's made herself a shadow in my life to keep me silenced because as long as we are trying to work things out, I won't share my story. I made it very public that I wanted to write a book, which is kind of true. I know if I were to talk about this, her response would be, I thought we were trying to work through things. How can we do that if you're saying all these horrible things? Are you? Is she? What kind of effort is she making to work through anything? Nothing. Other than saying, I thought we were trying to, and, you know, as long as you keep quiet, it's all cool, right? Anything you try to do to build yourself up, she's going to come back and try to break you down again. That's what she does. I hope my story can help people, and maybe one day I'll be brave enough to start a YouTube channel of my own without fear of consequences. I am in therapy and continue to do my best to grow as a person. I wish you all the best, Ollie, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to share. Keep up your great work. Sincerely, Anonymous Survivor. You gotta leave the narcissist boot camp. Because narcissist boot camp is there to tear you down. It never builds you back up. Any evidence of you building back up, you're gonna get torn right back down again. You're gonna have to leave narcissist boot camp once and for all. And that means complete and total no contact. There's no working this out. The only thing that's going to help you is exposure, because that's what she has been fighting you on your entire life, is being exposed. And she has broken you down through a lifetime of her military style boot camp breakdowns to get you to this point. You got to end it. Otherwise, you're never going to fully heal. So I hope that helps. Thank you so much for your contribution and story. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, or a Facebook live chat, or you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it supported, growing, and successful, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you guys. Without you, all this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been the Narcissistic Resistance. Take care.